Welcome to As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. Today we welcome to the podcast Jay and David from The City Is Ours. The City Is Ours will release their new album, Will You Still Love Me, this Friday on Rising Empire Records. The guys talk about David joining the band, Ollie sharing his story and vision on the new album, a long release process and how that helps live, and more. It was great getting to talk to a band I've had on the podcast before, but talk to brand new members. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Thanks so much for listening. If you're brand new to As the Story Grows, welcome. Thanks for checking us out. You can find links in the show notes or at asthestorygrows.com for our mailing list, our Discord community, or you can support the show financially on Patreon. A note before we dive into the interview, the audio this week is pretty rough in a few spots, and it might be difficult to understand what David is saying a handful of times. I worked hard trying to boost his audio and cut background noise, but it's still pretty difficult in hard spots. The band was out on tour in a bar, and so there's just a lot of background noise, and David was far away from the mic. So bear with the audio in certain spots. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's conversation with Jay and David from The City Is Ours.
Just gonna play. Sorry, man. We're on tour, and that means we're in a pub. So yes, we're just like moving around. So nice. Sorry and excuse if there's any background noise, man.
It's all good. Thanks for hanging out. I'm excited you two are here because I talked to Ollie and Mikey before, so it's like a whole new.
Yes, it's a full circle.
Yeah. So welcome. Yeah, how's tour going?
Thank you.
Yeah,
tour's going good, dude. We're only 3 days in now, so still early days. Our body's already started to ache. So I don't know if there's a sign of tour or a sign of aging and fitness levels, but yeah, it's going well. Everyone's lovely.
Yeah, nice.
Over to you, David.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been a new thing especially with the home team. They've been very cool guys. Andres as well. They've been super welcoming, man. Very nice to be around people like them and great musicians, man. And being able to be in this sold out tour with them is a very good experience for us. Even if we don't support tours in the UK, this is kind of like fitting or type of music we're going through with this new album coming up. And I think home team, I think Jamie's like he was. I mean, I never knew about them until Jamie introduced me to them, and I thought they were amazing.
Yeah, they're great.
The fact that we just ended up going with them is very humbling, man. It's been a very good experience so far the last 2 shows now.
Nice, that's awesome. Because the album's not out yet, but like the promotion for the album, I mean, we're like a year since Shame dropped, right? So like,
yeah, I know it's been crazy.
Yeah, is it cool to be able to tour and play the new songs, like quote unquote, because they're old to you at this point, but like,
very old,
to react to them, like.
Yeah, no, it is really cool. I mean, we recorded them, August last year?
We started drums August last year.
Yeah.
That was the first thing we recorded.
So they're definitely not new to us, but it is, playing them live is a very new experience because you kind of learn them, but like when you get in there, I say it's a bit like, you know how Mike Tyson says, what does he say? Like, you know what you're doing until you get punched in the face. Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. I feel like that's like playing shows. Yeah. Like you go through the songs, you know what you're doing, and then the second you get on the stage, it's like it's a different game.
We were talking about that yesterday. We played Leeds.
Yeah.
And it was the first show in Glasgow. It felt great. My personally felt great. But yesterday we were talking with Jamie. We're kind of the same mentality. Just like playing. And it felt like you're going through the parts. We're trying to assimilate the sound even when we're going live because we play so many of the Coma songs, the Moral songs, and we play all of that mainly. and we play them so much live that we just internalize them. It just comes out easier. You enjoy, and we're just internalizing all this new music into our playing, onto performance as well. There's more backing tracks, more pop parts as well, and this kind of mixture in the heavy part as well. So it's taking a little bit. So I think, of course, the more we play, it will get easy, but it's been one of those things of just trying to get used to it. To that, we're happy with the songs overall. It's just trying to get that flow, but it will get there for sure.
Yeah, every time like you introduce new songs, it's really weird because we've been playing some of the songs for years now, and we just feel like it's second nature. Then all of a sudden, you've got to think, oh crap! All right, this song's coming up. We're gonna. And like we don't necessarily know how we want to move or what we do because we're a very like energetic live band. So we're still figuring that out. So it is cool to play, but it's awkward as well. It's like that awkward, weird stage. But we're getting it, and it's going well, and it's been great, and everyone's been lovely as well, which is the main thing.
Yeah. Because A Rising Empire, out of all the labels and bands and people I've talked to, A Rising Empire definitely has the longest promotional time for a record. I mean, you guys are working on a year. That seems to be the average for an A Rising Empire band. By the time we get to this, and we're still a month out from your album coming out, are you just like, you have to do press for shit you're sick of, or are you just like still like excited, like, okay, finally the whole thing will be people?
Yeah, there's still excitement, and I think that's kind of done well by Rising Empire because it's almost like drip fed. So like at this stage, like there's a new song going out every month, every other month. So it's kind of like, oh, we're excited about this song, and then we're excited about that song, and then eventually we'll be excited about the album when it drops. There's still time, but it's been nice, and I think it's been a nice build up as well. There's been a variety of different choices for singles, which has been good, and we're ready for the album to come out. We're ready for everyone to hear it now.
Yeah.
David, what do you think?
I mean, because it's the first time. I mean, when I came to the band, I was playing Louis' parts, they call the Coma album. So from the get-go, it was challenging for me because Louis had the same drummer. So it just like I had to get all the parts down and all that stuff, and just trying to internalize that. So it wasn't my sound technically. That's not how I play, how I express myself. So with this record, it's been something like, you know, I could input my parts. And I could, and we had this chat internally several times. I think we all had this kind of feeling that because this is also for Ollie, because Ollie came on the Coma recording, but there was a transition between Sam and Ollie coming into vocals. Is the first time like this is like after Coma now. That this album is actually we all are like together, like as a unity. The flow of the music, the flow of the parts of the instruments, vocals, etc. And the production of the record, it's been very natural. So every time I think we playing, even this like live, just getting used to it. But when we came to producing the songs and getting everything down, I think it felt amazing. And I think I think Jerry would agree with me that this is like one of the best records and for the sound of the band that we have achieved. Especially like it just feels like a natural process and evolution of the band, and you know, being scared to experiment with different sounds or different genres of music like rap and a bit of pop and 2000s pop and there's still the heavy bits there. So it's just like we experimented. We were not afraid of doing that. So for more, they call me Latino here. I am half Colombian. I'm Colombian Italian, but I'm mainly Colombian. And even I put stuff in drums that is just not very. It's got a different flow. So the whole record changes, and the whole songs were built around everyone's ability to play those songs and to build those songs based on that, and starting from the lyrics and guitars and all composition of the track. So that's why it's been so fun.
Yeah,
it's been great, man.
Yeah, I mean, Coma was really this lockdown COVID record, right? This record that kind of got stuck and pushed back through the pandemic, and then it's also this transition record with Ollie coming in, and that record has a push pull where there's these heavy parts and there's these beautiful like pop parts. This record, I think, is way heavier and more cohesive than that, but also I think way more experimental. When you started writing, what were things that you knew you wanted to carry over from Coma, or what were things that you were just like, let's go back to square one on and try new things?
It's a really interesting question, man, because to be honest, I think this was the first record that we really were conscious of not doing stuff for the sake of it. We were very much like, let's just write what we want, let's have fun, and hopefully that shows through the record. So I don't know if there was anything we consciously was like, we want to keep this from Coma. We've always had this thing in City where we talk about real stuff and like keep it really like our hearts on our sleeves, and I guess we wanted to keep that because that kind of makes us who we are. Yeah. Other than that, we knew we wanted it to be riffy, and we knew we wanted it to sound big. We kept the same producer that we kept for the last 2 records because he always makes it sound great, and other than that, that's all it really boiled down to. Yeah. We knew we were going back to the drawing board in terms of drums because David hadn't written the last record and he adds his own flair into it, and I think as a drummer he's like one of the most unique sounding drummers I've heard, so it really like shows on the album and it highlights different parts. Yeah. And a lot of it was when we wrote Coma, Ollie wasn't massively involved in the writing process because a lot of it was already written before he joined, and it was more him sticking his vocals on top of a more or less finished product. Yeah. So in terms of writing, it was a lot more collaborative, this album, than any of the other albums we've done. We always do collab and everyone's involved in the writing process, but this one was just that extra head to really help, and Ollie's great. He has his own ideas. He doesn't play guitar, but he will sit there and fiddle around and noodle around with the guitar and sing different bits. It was really interesting, and it's good to get another opinion, really.
Nice. David, how'd you end up joining the band?
Well, funny. So I used to share a drum room at the studio with Louis, the previous drummer from City. And I used to because I was mainly an Instagram guy, so I've accumulated a lot of following on Instagram over the years because of drumming stuff that I was doing. I was not very fun of playing with band. I just put my time on social media, and I built my reputation as a drummer there. Yeah. So I got to work with Louis in the studio and we used to share the space. He just came to me, bro, and he goes like, "Man, I'm leaving City. Like, you want to audition?" It was like that. Okay, so he's just like, "Yeah, why not, man?" I knew his band. I knew City. I knew well what they have done. They played Download. It was which stage? 2019. Yeah, the Dog House. Yeah. So it was like I knew that the band was doing very good. So they really interested from the get-go, and then I spoke with Marky over the phone, and then he said to me, "Can you please just record just one of the tracks?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I'm used to go to social media, so it's like, "Yeah, easy, I have interface, I have camera," so yeah, straight away. I did Violent, and I just sent it over to them, and after that I said, "Yeah, man, you're in."
And we said it's a little rusty, but we've not got many options at this point. So.
It was tough to learn all those things, and there were so many tracks in the Come album, man. They're just very challenging. Louis is an unbelievable talented musician, not only drummer but musician. So it's a good growth for me to it was a good growth as a musician to learn all those parts. I never felt like 100% comfortable with the parts. Still, like maybe after like a year and a half or something of playing it, it's just when I started to just get more of that because it was just Louis. But it's a good challenge, man. It was good for me.
And on the other side of the story, we just got a call from Louis basically that was like, "I'm leaving the band, but I've also found you a new drummer." And we were like, "Okay, yes."
Just like that, man.
And that just kind of sums up Louis.
That was before Coma was released.
Yeah, that was and he did it a couple of weeks before Coma was released, which was great.
Oh man,
had this new record to come out, and he was like, "I'm leaving the band, man."
Yeah, I'm just leaving, man.
But I found you a new drummer. It's okay.
I mean, it's probably nice to be like, okay, our drummer has a recommendation. We should take that seriously, but also like, I don't know, you're leaving, so fuck you, right?
When stuff like that happens in a band, I think that emotionally it's hard. You stuck together. Like Louis was like 4 years.
For sure.
So it was not only like go to a drummer, but just like this guy is living for no reason. But he didn't give a reason. He just, man, see you later, man. I don't want to play metal anymore. I just want to do something different. That's literally, he was just straightforward.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things, and you get a new guy and see if the guy's gonna fit the band, not only musically but also as a person. It's just things. But I mean, from the get-go, we always went straight.
That's the thing, and I think we were all worried about that. Because the dynamics with Louis was great, and we still talk. I'll probably go out to dinner with him when we get back from tour. Like, we're all real close still. So I think like when he was leaving, oh god, and then David joined. I was like, oh, yeah, cool, it's fine.
Nice.
It was click. So
yeah, it was really quick. Very fast.
Yeah, very fast.
New album is called Will You Still Love Me? Where'd the kind of title and concept come from? I'm sure the other guys have more input on that, but
yeah. So the title and the whole concept of the album, I don't think he'd mind me talking about it because he's talked about it in another interview earlier. It really is Ollie's story, this album. I think we wanted to give him the stage to talk about his story, especially after kind of being like, right, here's Coma. Like, this is what we want you to say and do. So it was imperative that we gave him his place and to kind of really stamp his mark on the band. So it's just his story with problems he's faced as a member of LGBTQ plus community, and it's really the highs, the lows, and the title is taken from lyrics in the song Enough, and it's really that question of, will you still love me when you know how, like, who I really am, all out there, warts and all. And that's really it. We just felt that sentence and those lyrics and the emotion that you feel in that song whilst he's screaming those lyrics, and the emotion we felt in the studio was just summed up all in that line, and it just felt like the perfect title for the album.
Nice. Who came up with the album artwork?
Ollie did it all. Nice. He's done all the album artwork, he's done all the merch designs. The whole album's been very in-house, and as I say, it's very Ollie, the whole thing. Yeah,
I'm curious about. I mean, there's a lot of really cool creative decisions musically, but I really am curious about whose idea was it to have the saxophone solo in? Was it Hush Hush?
I cannot remember whose idea it was. I think we were listening to a lot of Bill Murray and just that kind of, it could have been Mikey's, it could have been anyone's at that point. When you're in that like flow zone, it's hard to tell, but we all jumped on board. I remember like getting a session sax musician to do it and send us it over, and just it was great, and it just fits the tune. It's really weird because it kind of comes out of left field, not really like the rest of the album is. It's really funny because it's not the first time we've been asked about it, and Hush Hush to us is kind of the song we like the least. I think all of us feel that way, maybe not, but it's definitely the song that I would say is my least favourite on the album. I still really like it, but we have been asked about it a lot, so it's quite funny because obviously other than a few interviews, the only people who've heard it are in our bubble and in our circles, and we don't really know what people's opinions of the songs are. So it's interesting to know that people are interested in the song.
Well, it's just fascinating because like there's nothing like it on the record. And you know, the first time I'm listening to the album, it's kind of just on in the background while I'm doing other things. And then the saxophone kicks in and you're just like, what is like it doesn't sound out of place, or it's just unexpected, and so it's just like it just hits you right away.
I think it just felt like it needed it.
Yeah.
And we probably in previous years probably would have put a guitar solo in.
Yeah.
We are a guitarist down these days, and probably just thought, fuck it, let's try something new.
There's a lot of unexpected things and musically wise. Some people, you've heard the album, but there's a lot of unexpected things in the album and the songs that people be like, oh, what is this? Like, the people that listen to our music or the previous albums, when they hear this, when it drops, it's gonna be a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
There's loads of songs that like there is. One of my favorite songs is "Can You Feel It?" And so we're like, actually, we're playing it live now on this tour. But we have to rearrange the set list because of the home team, so try to fit kind of the songs. So it's the first time that I think it's the first time like the band is playing like unreleased songs, because usually the band actually the thing was like playing release songs, and every time they release we play it live.
Yeah.
So this time we're playing a couple of tracks that haven't been released yet.
Yeah.
And one of those is "Can You Feel It?" And one of the beauty of that song is the how fun it is to play. It's got a lot of energy, a lot of drive from all the bands, so it's very fun. And we found that in rehearsals with that song, for example. And it's got things like that. It's got like super catchy chorus, gang vocals and stuff like that. But it's got the breakdown as well. It's got all these kind of things together, And there is like, Sugar, for example, and Psycho's got all these like Fever 33 like vibe, and it's just like, but with the metal and the rap and all that kind of stuff. So it's like the whole album, and that's what we were not afraid to do that when we were like trying to create it. The beautiful thing is like I remember being with us in the studio, and the section of Cycle was with a cowbell, and I was practicing that cowbell groove before that session on that day. I was just warming up on drums with a cowbell in there, and if you pay attention on that section of the song, it's like, if you listen closely, it's a cowbell. And I remember playing that on just warming up on that day. I was doing cowbell with the side snare and then put on the main snare, and then Oz just redirected me. He just goes like, do this. And I just came out with this Latin weird groove.
Nice.
But then it goes heavy, so it's just this kind of stuff, the album was all like that. And it's just why it's like when people listen to it, like Psycho, you get a lot of feedback from that, and just like, they're very different. Like In the Dark, for example, it's one of those songs got this like breakdown, like the 2000s, like NSYNC, with the strings in the back.
Real orc hits that you'd hear on like a Britney Spears, like NSYNC record.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But that, and that's what, there's so many things to grab on the record that I think is great. So, many songs.
Yeah, it's a cool record. Coma was one of my favorite records of 2021. So anytime a band...
Oh, awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah, anytime a band releases something new, you're like, is it going to live up to the last one, especially if you loved it? And I think this is just as phenomenal. I mean, like...
awesome. That's great to hear, man.
So,
good.
That's great, man. Thank you very much.
You can keep being drummer now. That's fine.
There you go.
We were waiting.
Album's out end of January. What's the next year shaping up like for you guys?
We're not sure yet. We know, all we know at the moment is we've still got a lot of tour.
A lot of tour,
Right, we're touring all the way up to March throughout Europe and UK with Self-Deception. So that should be cool. We've been on tour with them already, and they're great guys, real fun, which is what we like.
I love them.
They're great.
They're great people. I think it's been a challenging year. I think I'm just talking the personal side of it. It's been challenging, but finding yourself in tours with such great bands and also great human beings, because let's be honest, we're human, and sometimes some tours like this can be challenging or whatever. At the end, we're just all a bunch of people going around. But this is the home tour celebration, and Eyes Wide Open, which is part of the Self-Deception run, and Andres, which is part of the home team tour. I think they've been unbelievable. So it's very nice to feel that it's like to have this group of people we play with across UK and Europe being great, apart from being great musicians and just being very nice people. Because, makes this is worth it. We see this it's worth what we're doing, and we feel like it's worth the sacrifices and going on tour and playing to people, because also you're with a bunch of talented people and great human beings, so it's great, man. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. What I need is a rising empire just to take all their bands and do a massive stateside tour for me, just for me.
Like a walk tour, but just a rising empire.
Tour, but just a rising empire. Bring the European metalcore over here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of good bands on here.
A lot of good bands.
Moments of pleasure, if only they could let